Happy New Year! First day of the year 2025. Are you ready for your best year of your life? And the only way you can have a better life and a better year is to be at the Habs Nation Show every single night. Just kidding. But welcome back, guys, for the first show of the year 2025 with the hockey coach, Coach Frenchy, directly for the beautiful country of Thailand. One amazing, great Wednesday night, January 1st. We're going to repeat January 1st, 2025. I like it. I like the word, I like 2025. Half of the decade already. Another decade in my life. That many, I don't have enough. I don't have many that's coming in front of me, but it's okay. Ready for 2025. To be honest with you, I feel better, refreshed, and recovery for the last couple of days. First of all, game, 1 o'clock a.m., 5 a.m., 3 a.m. Burned me out. Then all the cheese I eat during the time, the holidays, make me fat, first of all. Secondly, it exhausts me. And last night, I no cheese on the plate. The leftover was eaten by people. I don't know what happened last night, but no cheese at all. The selection was really low quality. After the holidays, they have the store sell, everything cheaper because they want just to get out of this those things. And I feel like I feel that it was like that last night on Funways. So I came back early, and the people said, "Why the show was not on earlier?" Usually, I do my the show preparation early, and you know exactly when I start, when is going happening. But I decided to do it at the last minute, so I not because I don't want to decide to do the show. I just did the setup of the show at the last minute. So, but we are ready because today we're going to talk about the Montreal Canadiens, the month of December. We're going to talk about the year 2024 of the Montreal Canadiens, the team, the players, and what they did all year long on the draft, on the trade. So I'm really diving deep about number, about the Montreal Canadiens. And then tomorrow night with Marco, I'm going to do the notebook. Usually it's a Wednesday night, but Marco is still on the holidays. And we decided to do it tomorrow night to do the notebook. And the notebook is going to review more the game on the Montreal Canadiens on the last a couple of games on the road. And of course, the preview of 2025, the projection of the lineup of the roster possible on 2025, and what happening when Montreal had traded lines. So the subject will be very interesting tomorrow, like we do tonight about this year 2024, and what not to review the year of the Montreal Canadiens with a co-host. Now he feel better, he recovery. I hope he's going to make all the way to the end of the show tonight because his voice it was not really good the last couple of days, but we're really happy he's feel better and he's joined me tonight on this special edition of the Habs Nation podcast. So welcome back from the Maritimes dans la région de Nova Scotia. The co-host, Mr. Devin, is back in the house tonight.
What's going on, Coach? It's great to be back. It's great to have my voice almost all the way back. Still a little bit squeaky, but not nearly as bad as it was the other night. As all of the people can attest that were there, that I didn't really have very much of a voice last time. So I'm happy to have my voice back, and I'm happy to be here with you. Happy New Year, and I look forward to talking about our favorite topic, the Montreal Canadiens.
Of course, first of all, thanks to join me live. Happy New Year to you and your family. And then, of course, glad to hear your voice from Mickey Mouse to Scooby Doo. And now you're going to have the Devin voice back in the house. So we're going to welcome a few people, guys. We got tonight, we appreciate a lot to join the Hockey Nation Live show. We are, of course, RJ Calabro. RJ have a really slow night. Devin, you have only one game in NHL and look like the Kings. Kings surprise. Beating right now the New Jersey 3-0, I believe. I don't know. We have another update, but the King have a better year on my projection on the beginning of the season for me. They make some Rod Blake, I feel like Rod Blake had a difficult year last year with the transaction, the trade. He was trying to fix the team, and the Kings got down last year. Didn't have a better year last season, the year before that. And every year they got eliminated by the Edmonton Oilers, and at least the last 3 years. This year they make a couple just fix a little bit. I think the goaltending situation, they remove after a bad trade with Pierre-Luc Dubois. Uh, they fixed the problem with Crumper between the pipe. The Dubois trade for the King was not good for them. If you look about what happening right now, Dubois played with Washington. They got Crumper and they lost Villardy. Villardy really the big piece of that trade between the Pierre Dubois and the Kings. But they find a way to put that team on the track with a head coach where nobody gave a lot of chance to have that kind of performance behind the bench. So, yeah, congratulations for the Kings right now, what they look like after 38 game. And again, what about NZ Kopitar? Unbelievable. Kopitar, I think he's underrated. Imagine that
I've, uh,
guy was playing on the east side of the Eastern Conference, right? Yeah, usually the yeah, even more popular or the name is more recognized if you play on that side, right? Unfortunately, with Lawson King, is not recognized like he should be. Um, we had to go all the way to 2005 between Carey Price and Capital for the Montreal Canadiens. What it would be that's fun for the Montreal if they got the Capital over Carey Price. We're never going to know that, but that's happening during the draft 2025. The Capital got his first penalty of the season at the 37 game this year. Capital really an icon for the Los Angeles Kings on their history. I like Marcel Dion or Rogatien Vachon and those kind of players. Wayne Gretzky played for that team for many years. So I just open
I
up
have
that one over there.
I have a I have a trivia question for you about the LA Kings, coach. Three players in the history of the NHL have led their team in scoring for more than 18 years. Wayne Gretzky, Gordie Howe, and who else?
Repeat again your question to be sure I understand.
Only three players in the history of the NHL have led their team in scoring for more than 18 years or more. One is Wayne Gretzky, one is Gordie Howe, and who is the other?
So if you have to go with this, you have to attach with the second case. So I have to go with Marcel Dion.
Anze Kopitar.
Oh, Capital did it.
Yeah, he's the only. See, so he is third place all time for leading his team in scoring for a season. Is Anze Kopitar? That's pretty good company for a guy like that who, like you said, is pretty underrated, and we don't talk about him nearly enough.
You're all right. You're right about that. Claude Richard, welcome back in the house. Sandeman is in the house. Luc Fortin, Paul in the house. Pizza, PLW. Now go on with the football. Yeah. NCA for the bit tonight. Welcome back. And then we have Habs Nation. Have a really a duel of the fantasy hockey with the Habs Nation. We are tied after 4 days, 31.7, both of them. So it will be a fun week with the Habs Nation. Joseph Phillips is in the house. Welcome back. Gary Conway, welcome back in the house also. Thanks to be with us, Gary. Hopefully you recovered during the holidays with all your transportation with UPS, and you're ready for 2025. You and your family, and we wish you an happy New Year, Mr. David. What a great 2024 coach. You're right about that, Mr. David Cipro. What a great year. Wow, we have to take a time. We have a breaking news, David. Sorry about that. We have a breaking news.
Okay.
He's back in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, directly from Saint Leonard, Montreal area, Franco Iacono is in the house tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Franco, welcome back. It's so funny. We talk about you maybe 4 days ago. I think it was during the Christmas party, so maybe 1 week ago. I don't think so. I think it was after. We talking about people, David, where they was been with us for 4 months and week, year, and then we didn't see them right after that. That's just a roller coaster. That's the wheel. I call this a YouTube channel wheel. because the
Mhm.
people come here, then they leave, and that's okay. New people's coming, and then they have a new people, and then it's just a will. That's normal. It's okay, no problem. But to see Franco tonight here, that's a really great news to see that. Franco, first of all, welcome back. Secondly, happy New Year 2025. I wish the best for you and your family. I know what happening to your family, but I wish you guys your recovery and you're ready for the year 2025. And I just want to say to you, I wish the best for you. So welcome back, Franco. And thanks again to be with us to stop by. El Ensign is in the house. Gary Cornelis and Marcel Dion. Everybody was thinking like me, Marcel Dion. LDP is in the house. LDP, still the recovery for the loss of the Buffalo Sabres yesterday. Bob Smith is in the house tonight. Um, Abdiation said Devin should be in the pool next year. Yeah, we're going to bring Devin and the fantasy hockey next season. Glad to be back and the mix, the Montreal Canadiens. Yeah, Franco is in the mix. Yes, thanks to see that, Franco. What are you doing well, Franco? And glad to see you, my friend. Everybody, guys, Happy New Year. Don't forget, please, to click on the likes. And then it's we know January 1st, Devon, it's not like a big night because the people are busy with families. May until the 5th or the 6th, I think, it'll be a slow night. But we want to deliver good content tonight. I think I did a couple of good things about the search of the 2024. And, I think that will be helping a little bit more understanding where we at today with the Montreal Canadiens. And the subject of the night, guys, I did that, and it was refer. I know Devin, he understand that one over there. Why? And Martin said we fix it. And Martin said we on the press conference talk always the time that shine at the back when they got a bad game, right? That's what we said many times at the press conference, Devin. And but I think he fixed the shine. The shine is back, and the bike is the basic peut continuer on the bonne direction. So that's the review of the year 2024, and a great job for the Montreal again during the month of December. What happening to them? So we'll see. Well, Sean McIntyre, Mr. Nortap, and Devin is in the house. Luciano knocked the door. Welcome back, Luciano. Sean back in the house. Sean I believe, is also at the Maritime. Devin. Happy to have Aldwin Wall, but I'm nervous. I'm nervous. I think they need a good pick for the center. What do you think? Great question about this. I will ask David that to answer about this. You want to have a good year. You have to Montreal progress, but you still missing a couple of pieces of the puzzle, and maybe a pick at the top five could fix the problem easier or maybe faster or another way compare if they pick number 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I will ask you if you can answer, Sean, how you feeling about the Montreal Canadiens right now, the success they have, and is it a big problem for them for the NHL draft 2025?
Yeah, I don't see it as a problem. I mean, I'm like you, Sean. I'm really happy that they're playing well and it's fun to watch and exciting. But at the same time, I mean, I'm quite aware that this is not the end of the rebuild. There's still a lot of work to be done, and that we're probably going to see them regress and step backwards. Again before they, before they continue to improve. This is we hear the coaching staff talk about this. That progress doesn't happen on a linear level. So there's going to be steps forward and there's going to be steps backward. As far as the draft's concerned, I don't see them picking super high this year. I don't see them picking in the top five. I think they're probably more likely going to be around, the 10 to 12 range. Is that a problem for them not getting a center? I don't think so. We're seeing Doc, show what he's capable of. And, there's no guarantees that he's going to return fully back to his old form. But if he does, then I think the team is in fine shape as far as center goes. Ivan Demidov is coming to the team. Perhaps he'll be able to play on the team next year. He's capable of playing center. Michael Hage is going to be with the team in the next 2 or 3 years. He's capable of playing center. I don't see. I guess. Yeah, would it be nice to get a top 5 draft pick and have a centerman? Absolutely. But do they need it? I don't think so. I don't think they need it. I don't think it's a deep concern if they don't get it. If they continue to play well and they, they move up in the standings to the point where they don't have a top 5 or 6 draft pick this year, and don't get to draft one of the big names that are available. I'm not worried about that. I think the team has shown the management is good, the scouting staff is good. If they pick at 10, 12, even 15, I feel like they'll be able to get a draft pick. And we also know that they have another draft pick potentially in the first round this year. Maybe they can bundle it and move up in the draft. And even if they end up trading, David Savard or who else, I mean, Mike Matheson, Jake Evans. I mean, that's another topic. But if they get another, a third first round draft pick this year, maybe they can do something with that. So for me, as far as center goes, I don't think it's a desperate need for the team. Would it be nice to get, a top 5 draft pick to play center and add that to the team? Yeah, of course it would be. But I don't see it as a major desperate need for the team right now, or even going forward.
Great comments about that. For the question of Sean, the question was really good, by the way, because honestly, I'm the one where when Montreal lose, I feel okay because I say, you know what, we're going to have a good pick anyway. We need a good pick, right? I still believe this is a great happening to the Montreal. I think it's a fresh air for the Montreal Canadiens fans, right? Some of them and many of them believe that Montreal go have a good rest remaining of the season, but the schedule is not going to be easy in January, and after that, the 2 weeks going to hurt many teams in NHL. That will be very interesting. The 2 weeks, because this is the first time for many years you have not only 1 week off, but now 2 weeks off, and sometimes something losing their momentum of the season right away after that. But if Montreal get in, the January guys is really busy. I think they play 14 games and they have only three team out of the playoff, maybe 4 max, and the rest is really difficult team. Just next week Dallas, you have Dallas 2 time, you have Tampa Bay, you have Vancouver. I know Vancouver is struggling right now, but still. So at the end of the day, for me, yes, but we have to be realistic. I still believe Montreal will be finished around 80 points. My prediction, I think, and Devin, you nailed it. Like 7, 8 is really where I down. Maybe Montreal will finish. More at me, I was set 5 and 6 at the beginning of the season. But still, you have a good player at that level. And after that, it's all about development. After that, Devin, you can select a pick number 4, 5, 6, and then that player is not going to be a good pick compared to the guys 6, 7, 8. We have Rantanen at 10, Philippe Forsberg at 10. Detroit select Marco Casper, playing out right now in the NHL, Casper. And I can go many players we can mention. Zeder number 6, I believe, Maurice Zeder. And it's
Yeah.
happened every year. So, yes, Sean, the
Yeah.
success Montreal Canadiens, I think we have to feel it. We have to enjoy it, to embrace it. But at the end, if Montreal select 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, they have to select the best player on the board. A center, a winger, a defenseman, it's no matter, in my opinion. Select them, develop them, and then that will give them another asset at their hands to open up to other possible a trade, whatever it is, we never know. And again, Calgary Flame, guys, don't forget that pick. I pray every night. I put about the Calgary Flame. Yesterday they win again, a big game yesterday again. David, I did not sleep from 2 o'clock p.m. the day before, and I go all the way to the morning, and I sleep 1 hour. I do the game Canada, and then after that, like it's time to go to bed. No, it's time to watch the Flames. And I watched the full period, the third period. It was 1-0. They tied the game 1-1 finally at 3-1. And we have to put Huberdeau, one of the top 5 player bounce back of the year. Huberdeau played a solid hockey right now with the Calgary Flame. And we forget, guys, and we never mention him. It's always Mitchkov. It's always Celebrine. It's always Hutson. And we
Dustin
know
Wolf.
we like Lane Hutson, right? But you cannot forget right now Dustin Wolf. Dustin Wolf right now is below 2.50 goal against average. Is at over 920 save percentage. This is a big number in NHL. And unfortunately, Rookie of the Year, the Calder Trophy by goaltender, that happened a lot. And we'll see. But we have to, you cannot now put this name out of the top best Rookie of the Year in NHL, Dustin Wolf. So we'll be interested what the Flames going to do because my concern is about they have a good schedule for the rest of the year. It's not like a bad schedule. They are in the middle of the most difficult day schedule. The what I'm worried, I'm concerned is only honestly at the trade deadline. They make some move during the summer to go retool or rebuild, and they trade for Max Strom. They let go Anifin, Danev, Langholm, Zadorov, sent almost like 1 year now. And they had a couple of great players, and those, many of them, Zari, great year. Coroneto, what a year he has. The defense of the Anderson, Wegar at the defense. Nobody talk about Pachal or Pachal, the defenseman, the new defenseman, the Flame. The Wolf performance, the Vladar performance over there, and the bounce back of Super Chat. Mark Elliott, Mr. Devin, he did it again. Put him up with the Habs Nation. Super Chat.
See,
Mark Elliott did it again on that one over there. So
I
I
have to
know
get
I
to
took a lot
I have to get
subject
to
about the Calgary Flame, but
I have to
as
get
for
to 500 subscribers, Coach, so Mark can start sending me money in my chat. I can't do that until I get to 500 subscribers. So
you get there. The way to
someday,
subscribe for you is to go to Rick Leonard Sport, subscribe on that channel one day at a time, one subscriber at a time. I dropped one of those subscribers in the last 2 weeks with the YouTube channel. They don't tell me exactly what's going on, but who knows what's going on? You never know what happening. They tell me the spam, they cut, whatever it is, but they cannot give me a real answer about that. So.
yeah. Can I just say one more quick thing about what we were just talking about? Like, I think you bring up a lot of good points, and what it really underlines for me is the fact that with a rebuild, you just kind of have to let it happen, right? You can't force things in a rebuild. You can't sort of lose on purpose so you get a high draft pick. What you need to do is you need to make sure that you have the right people in place so that when things happen, you can deal with them right. Like you talked, Coach, about if you draft a guy at 12 or 13, well, then you've got to develop him and make sure that you have the right people in place so that when you do get that draft pick, you have the right people who can make sure that that draft pick has the best opportunity to have the best NHL career. You make sure that you have a really good scouting staff so that if you are picking at 14th or 15th, you are getting a good draft pick. Sometimes you can get a guy who's really good at 14 or 15, even better than a guy who might go at 5 or 6. So, to me, that's sort of one of the forgotten parts of the rebuild is how well the Montreal Canadiens have sort of, put themselves in a position to deal with the things that come their way. Like we look at, we can sit on our hands and be like Chicago and hope that we get Connor Bedard, or we can be like Toronto and hope that we get Austin Matthews. But let's be honest, like the Toronto Maple Leafs, their rebuild, if it was called a rebuild at all, didn't work because they got Austin Matthews, and then all of a sudden they thought they were out of the woods. So, getting that superstar in the draft isn't necessarily the answer that everybody thinks it is. And I think it's you sort of have to be patient with a rebuild, and you have to let things happen. And when they do, you need to make sure that you're well equipped to handle it.
Mark, good question. Could we package a good comments, Vince? I apologize. Follow the chat right away. Mark, could we package the Calgary pick and the prospect to try get Mesa? Yes, possible. But Mark, trade at the bottom 10 does not happen a lot in the last couple of years. You have a few traded. If I can recall it, you have the Devils did it with the Vancouver Canucks long time ago with with the goaltender Schneider. They got a 9th draft pick, the Vancouver, and they select Bo Horvat. I'm talking about really, that's what I'm thinking about. It's not been a lot, honestly, to make Michael Meza will be a top 5, a team at top 5. have to be I believe, Devin, to do that, have to be a team. Is almost like a new team rebuilding. Does it make sense? Like
Yeah.
I couldn't understand. I could see one team there, the Nashville Predator, do that
Well, New
because
York Rangers. New
the
York
New York
Rangers, if they keep
Rangers
going
could
the way
get
they're
that
going.
selection there. But I don't think so to be at a bottom five. Does it make sense? Like you have to be a
Yeah.
bottom five. I would not trade my two pick, at example, 11, 12 or 8, 12.
No, yeah. I just mean if they continue to fall and they get down that low, they
Yeah,
could be in that
yeah,
world.
yeah, yeah. Definitely about that. So we'll see what happens. But a great question, Mark, about this. Thanks for your super chat again, Mark. I appreciate that. A lot of people pop up. We want to welcome everybody. Thanks to be a part of the show. Don't forget, guys, to click on the likes. Like he said, we said all the time. Happy New Year, everybody. 2025, ready to rock and roll for the Montreal Canadiens. What a great week for the Montreal Canadiens. Since the beginning of the trip about that. So we have a couple of subjects we want to talk about this. We want to rock and roll the show very quickly for 30 minutes. A lot of great comments here. Gary Cornoyer again. Ari, welcome back. Everything. The month of December, what happening with the Montreal Canadiens. And I'm going to go through with a number. And then after that, Devin, you can talk more about the subject and go deep about what I just mentioned to the people. First of all, the month of December, the Montreal Canadiens finished with a record of 950 during the month of December. This was the best month of the Montreal Canadiens since 2018 December 2018. And that year, the Montreal finished with a record of 10-5-0. And that's the only time now today Montreal make 9W one second month since that month in 2018. So very impressive with 18 points. I'm going to give you a couple of performances here for the Montreal Canadiens the month of December. With a 9-5-0, Devin, they are 7 in the standing with the most points. The goals for 3.36 per game, they are 7 in the standing. The goal again, 2.86, 14 in the standing. Power play, 21.6, 13. The PK, 84.8, they are 11. And finally, the face-off percentage is 12 at 50.9 for the Montreal Canadiens. And then I have to add you one more, guys. Then Devin can talk about this. The individual performance, guys. Simon Montembeault have a record of 8-5-0 during that month, I believe. Goal again average of 2.53 is 14 in NHL. Save percentage is at 0.909. Is 12 in NHL. Third for the most win in that month and the goalies. And I compare all the goalies with 7 start in the month of December. Now, particularly is the number one with the most goals on the power play in the month of December with 8. Finally, add Montreal Canadiens, Caulfield and Zuski 14 points. Jake Evan 12 points and Patrick Lenny 10 points. All the leader of the month of December for the Montreal Canadiens. So now, Devin, after I put all this in the context for the month of December, give us a review of the month of December. What the change, what the impact, what happening, why Montreal play better today compared at the beginning of October. So I'll let you talking, and I will be back with more stat after that.
Yeah, I mean, not to take exception with your headline, coach, but I don't know that it's anything that they've fixed. I don't know that anything has been fixed here. I think what's happened is they've learned how to do. They've learned how to win, right? We hear the coach, we hear Marty St. Louis talking about it all the time, how he's trying to teach these guys how to win and how to get better. So I don't know it's a matter of they had a huge problem and they fixed it. It's a matter of they've got a process that needs to progress along a certain path, and it's progressed along this path. The analogy that I always have in my head, and maybe it's not a good one, but I'll give it to you anyway, is if you ever remember when you were back in school and maybe you had to learn a speech, right? You had to learn a speech for a play or for whatever. You had to give a speech and you had to learn it. And the first thing you had to do was you had to memorize it, right? So you would memorize the speech, and that might take you some time. It would take you a little while to learn how to memorize that speech, but you would practice it every day and you would deliver your speech in front of a mirror. And at first it really sucked, right? You weren't really good at it. You had to check your notes, or you had to you had to keep doing it. And then eventually you would get better at it. And finally you memorized it. And you memorized the speech, but when you delivered it, it still wasn't that good because you still had to practice, like, you know, when to, when to raise your voice and when to lower your voice and when to, to get loud and to deliver like the big parts of but you practiced that and you got better at it. And so when you delivered your speech, it got a little bit better. And then, eventually you had to learn how to do the hand motions, right? So you could gesture while you were doing your speech. So all of this was progressing to the point where you could deliver that speech in front of, your teacher or your class or whatever. And you would get to the point where you could deliver it a lot better. So, the speech hasn't changed, right? The speech is the same as it was at the beginning when you started, but now you've worked on it and you've practiced it and you've got all of these different things better. And now you can deliver it, and you can deliver it in a way that's very presentable. And then eventually you get to the point where you can deliver it really, really well, time after time after time. Now you still might screw it up once in a while. You might forget a line, or you might forget a word or whatever, but it gets better and better and better every time you do it and every time you practice it. And it's never perfect. And eventually, you just get to the point where, 9 times out of 10, when you deliver that speech, you do it really, really well. And so that's, to me, what the Canadians have been working on, right? They started the year. We all knew that, we all heard that they had a new defensive zone system, and some of the guys were having trouble with it, and some of the guys were struggling, and, they were making bad reads and they couldn't quite figure it out, and they weren't getting it. And then, they all slowly started to get it, but Arbor Jacki didn't get it right away, right? So Arbor Jacki had to sit out a couple games, and then, he came back into the lineup and he was pretty good. And then, they started to get a little bit better at the defensive zone structure, but, some nights they really stunk. And then other nights they were okay. And then now, just in December, we're seeing it all come together where they're all playing together, and that defensive zone structure and all of their systems that they have in place are now becoming second nature to these guys, right? They go on the ice, and instead of having to think about, where do I need to be right now, or how do I make this read, or what do I, where do I have to be now, and where do I, where, like, who do I go and support? And now it just happens. It's natural to them now. So now they can start playing hockey. They can start having fun. They can start enjoying the game instead of having to think about the game. And I mean, that game, the game against Las Vegas was the perfect example. Even in the first period when they went down 2-0, they looked really, really good. If you saw, like, Las Vegas never got any time to handle the puck. Like, as soon as a guy got the puck, one guy was on them and a second guy was on them right away. Their reads are really, really good. So, to get back to, whether or not something has been fixed here, and I'm seeing a lot in the media and a lot on social media where people are talking about, oh, the Canadians have figured it out, or the Canadians have fixed this, or the Canadians have changed that. Well, no, they haven't. They're just getting to the point. Like, this was the plan all along. Like, this was Martin St. Louis' plan all along, was for them to continue to get better. He was going to teach them a system, and he was going to teach them all of this stuff. And now they're continuing to learn all of these things, and they're getting better at it. And it's all coming together. And as we've talked about, Coach, in the past, the key now will become, can they now start to do it night in and night out? Like, will they be able to do it to the point where this becomes the way they regularly play, and not the way that, it's not an exception anymore. This is the rule. So when they have a bad game, that's the exception instead of the other way around. And I think we've gotten to that point where they're on the verge of that. I still do think there's going to be some setbacks, and I still think there's still some improvements to be made. And there's obviously a ton of work to be done. And this roster and this team is not completely built yet, but this is another step in their progress. It's not that they've all of a sudden figured out how to play hockey. It's that they're starting to learn, or they're starting to grasp the lessons that they've been taught. And now they're putting those lessons into practice on a more regular basis. And we're seeing them play what now, 4, 5, 6 games in a row, an entire month of December. Like, those numbers that you posted, Coach, about December, if they play those same numbers for the rest of the year, they're a playoff team, right? If they go 9-5 in each of the remaining months of this season, and they score more than 3 goals a game, and they allow fewer than 3 goals a game, and their power play is in the top, 12 or 13 in the league, their penalty kill is in the top 10 in the league, and all of these guys continue to improve their game, that's a team that is, in the mix. It's a team that's, very likely to make the playoffs if they play that way the rest of the year. So, again, I don't, I'm not getting too high right now, because I know there's still going to be some steps backwards. This is not a finished product right now, but they're certainly moving in the right direction. And this is sort of the culmination or the next step in the process that Martin St. Louis, the plan that Martin St. Louis and management has for this team. This is the next step. And, again, everyone was kind of freaking out through, October and November and saying, oh my God, the rebuild is failing and, things aren't working out and, they're not progressing, they're regressing, they're not getting better. And it's like, just be patient, just relax, let it happen. This is something that, doesn't always happen right away. You need to learn these lessons. And now I think we're getting there where we can continue to watch them continue to get better. And we're seeing some of the fruits of their labor right now. And it's been really fun to watch. And I think December is what we've been waiting for. And hopefully, we'll see them continue to move in that right direction.
Yeah, a lot of great comments there, Devin. Explain everything what's going on. I think for me, it's always been going to be that way. The success of Montreal Canadiens this year for me is about how they learn to win game, and they can do that. The process would be there slowly, and they find a way now to understand one Martins. We talk to them about their action, bring to the next action, and if they follow the template of the system and they apply it, but that will make them better. And now they really believe they can be better, and that's the change of the mindset. And also at the same time, you have people are struggling since the beginning of the season and find some kind of the progression or a little bit better game for the last 2 3 weeks. And you hook Dak, two of them. I think Cody played his best hockey of the year right now. Let's say he was not unhappy, but he's struggling after his injury. Super chat of Falling the Rain and Mr. Devin, second super chat tonight from Alaska. Thanks so much. We appreciate a lot. Happy New Year to you and your family and your beautiful dog. So, here we go. Super chat number 2. Here we go. Super chat. Thanks so much, Rain. Appreciate a lot on that one over there. Following by Mark Elliott earlier. Prior to that, Mark Elliott did it also. 2 super chat of the great evening of the first night of the first show of the year 2025. Thanks so much about that. Billy talked about the impact of William Alexandre Carrier. Changed honestly the team Montreal Canadiens. On the put the defenseman on the right chair, and I think that will help the Montreal. Is it perfect? No, I think we have a better pairing, Mike Madison or Lane Hutson, but they don't do bad, by the way. And the pairing of the Carrier and Coley become the first pairing, honestly, to shut down. We try to shut down the opponent best line for the opponent team play against Montreal Canadiens. Carrier and Patrick Laine joined the Montreal Canadiens the second game of the month of December. Change also the line for the Montreal Canadiens. When I said change the line, they had better on the top 6 forward, and the performance of Laine, Dak, and Newhook for the last 5 games is better. They had a better chemistry, and that line helped the Montreal Canadiens to have a better success the last 7 games. They are a record of 6-1-0. Put this all together, like Billy said, Alexandre Carrier, Patrick Laine, better performance overall on the power play, better performance on the PK, better performance in front of the net of Samuel Montembeault, by the way. Put all this together, this is the right recipes to see the Montreal Canadiens have a good success right now with any team in NHL. But again, we'll see how they're going to, it's not going to be all the way that. But whenever they have some kind of bounce, what we want for the Montreal Canadiens is not losing 3, 4, 5 games and not losing 9-2, 7-2, 6-2, gave 4 goals in one period, 5 goals in the next period. And they compete every night. We want effort, compete, and a better game by the Montreal Canadiens. Right now, that's what they offer to the Montreal Canadiens fans. So, great finish line for the year of 2024 for the Montreal Canadiens. Now they go to reset, and now it's like this. Everything happening at Devin is behind them. That's the philosophy of Martin St. Louis and the player buy-in, and they're all in. Is now they focus who? The Chicago Blackhawks. They don't talk about Colorado Avalanche. They don't talk about Vancouver and the Dallas. They just see the Chicago Blackhawks. It's another one little step in the schedule, and they try to get there and they try to perform at their best and see what they can do against Chicago Blackhawks. And it's not guaranteed a game winning because Chicago's struggling. It's another game and their schedule, and they're going to try to win. And then they're going to, after that, move on to the Canada Avalanche. They go to reset the date like this. This is how it works. And this is
So
making Martin St. Louis success behind the bench right now with the Montreal Canadiens. So, yes, Billy, you're right. Yes, Devin, you're right about the way they play all together. So, we'll see what they're going to do for the next two
it's
games on the road, Devin.
it's winning habits, right, Coach? Winning habits is you go into Chicago and you've just won 3 games against 3 of the best teams in the NHL, and you've played the best hockey of your year. It will be very easy for them to go into Chicago and and let down and not have their best game and not play the way they played in Las Vegas and in Florida and in Tampa Bay. Like, it'd be very easy for them to do that. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. Like, I'm looking to see, how do they go into Chicago? Do they go into Chicago with the mindset, well, oh, these guys are behind us in the standings, we should be able to beat them no problem? And do they lay off, or do they go in and just beat the crap out of them like they should? And so, again, it's learning how to win. It's winning habits, and that's what veteran hockey teams do, and that's what we need to look for. Even in the games where they're playing against lesser teams, there's lessons for them to learn, and as fans, there's lessons for us to look for, to see whether or not they're learning and they're improving.
You're right about this. And then, some player like Jake Evans, we're going to talk about this next couple of minutes. Emin and Emin, Joanna Amia, the four line, I can go all the way, honestly, about the
Yeah.
month of December. So let's move on, guys, about the NHL, the rookie of the year. Oh, the year. No, 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 coach, not yet. The rookie of the month of December in NHL, honestly, is Lane Hutson. I tried to get my graphic there. Just wait a minute. If I can get there, that'd be great. If I'm on the right graphic, it's not. It should be right here. Here we go. It's Lane Hutson, the rookie of the month in NHL. 2 goals, 11 assists, 13 points, and 14 games for the Montreal Canadiens. What a great month for Hutson. I'm going to give you some number, and Devin give us your evaluation about that Lane Hutson. First of all, Lane Hutson played 37 games this year, have a total of 26 points, 2 goals, 24 assists. Right now, the rookie breakdown for him during the year of 24-25 is 26 points, third behind Michkov and Celebrini. He is first with the most assists as a rookie in NHL. And then the NHL stat as a defenseman overall. That's include all the defensemen in NHL. With the number of the point at 26 is 12 in NHL. Is tied with Ramis Dalin. And then the most assists, 24, is 8 in NHL with 24 assists. So you can see he's compete with a great big name as a defenseman. He get now more time on the power play as a quarterback number one. Not only the month of December, since the beginning of the season, his consistency to play over 20 minutes per game is excellent. And he brings something the Montreal does not have in the past. And it's fun to watch. He highlights the game every time he play. Yes, we want a little bit more from him, but he's really become a better defenseman overall for the Montreal Canadiens. Better on defensive zone coverage, by the way. He's not going to be one all the battle, but I think he's a little bit more pay attention more or he's defensive now. That's the reason he does not come in the puck like he was before. And I'm happy about that. When he got the puck inside the offensive zone from the blue line to goal line, this is what we want to see Lane Hutson go left and right, fake it, move it, whatever. And I'm telling you right now, every time I have the puck, Devin, all the 5 opponent players are on the hill. They don't know what will be the next thing, and they are like, like a snake. They go everywhere, they slip around, they don't know what's going to happen. And Hudson have a great date. And the 4 other players for the Montreal Canadiens, they have to be ready. The puck's coming there really quickly. They're sick and they open. Always find a way to get. Now, it's not going to be always finishing what they expect, but most of the time, he gave a better chance for the Montreal to have an opportunity to have a goal. So I really like Lane Hudson in the beginning of the season. For me, is really the most fun player for the West for the many years with the Montreal Canadiens. We have to go, in my opinion, all the way to Piquet Subban to be excited about a defenseman like him, Lane Hudson. So, Devin, You have the now talking about the player of the month December in NHL, Lane Hutson for the rookie.
Yeah, I mean, it's an impressive achievement by Hutson, right? For him to, to compete with Macklin Celebrini and Matvey Michkov. I mean, Michkov didn't have a great December, so that wasn't such a big deal. But I mean, I believe he had the same number of points as Macklin Celebrini did in the entire month of December as a defenseman. I think they both finished with 13 points. So, that's pretty impressive. You touched on it, Coach, and I think the bigger thing for me is how much his defensive game has improved. I think he's a -9 now, and I want to say there was a point in the season where he was somewhere close to -20, and he's improved that number significantly. I think if you look at his last 5 or 6 games, he's a +6 or 7. So again, somebody can look those up to be sure, but his defensive game has improved significantly. If you remember at the beginning of the year, the haters, the people who were fans of other teams were telling us, well, Lane Hutson will never amount to anything in the NHL because he's too small. He can't play defense in the NHL. He'll never be able to do it. And and to be fair, there were points early in the season where he wasn't able to really stand his own as a defensive defenseman in the NHL, and there were nights where he did struggle. But what's really impressive to me is his ability to play a game of hockey, to get off the ice, and before he gets back on the ice for the next game, to learn the lessons from what he did wrong in that previous game, right? Like he might stink it out in one game and make a number of turnovers and mistakes and whatever, but you can assure yourself that by the time the next game rolls around, he'll have thought about it and he comes back and he's always better. He's always better. Like whatever game he's playing, he's better than he was the game before. And he continues to improve. He's working on parts of his game. And I think he's sacrificed some of his offense right now so that he can work on his defensive side of his game. And which is really exciting to me because eventually, once he gets to the point where he's, comfortable with his defensive game, he can start, going back to some of the stuff he does offensively on the ice. And the combination of those two things is going to be pretty special to watch. Um, Not dissimilar to the way Cole, I mean, everyone was, worried about Cole Caulfield last year. Remember, Cole Caulfield's not scoring the way he used to. He's not putting the puck in the net at the same rate. And the reality was that he was working on other parts of his game. And now this year, we're seeing, he's fixed all of that other stuff in his game. And now he's adding it to his old part of his game. And now he's scoring goals. He's getting assists. He's playing much better defensively. He's skating better. He's setting up plays. He's making his teammates better. So that's kind of what I'm looking for from Lane Hutson. And I think that Lane Hutson is even, I think he's even like got a higher hockey IQ than even Cole Caulfield does as far as his ability to learn. So for me, it's obviously the offensive numbers are what the first thing that you see with Lane Hutson because they are so special and impressive. And I think they'll continue to get better. You made a good point, Coach, about his teammates having to be, the opponents are on their heels when Lane Hutson has the puck, and his teammates have to be on their toes. And I mean, we've seen it a number of times this year where he sets a guy up for a perfect goal, a perfect goal opportunity, and they don't manage to score, right? They don't manage it, and I think we're going to see the more his teammates get to play with him, the more they're going to be ready for what he gives them. I compare it to when Magic Johnson first started playing with the LA Lakers, right? The players that he played with didn't know where the ball was coming half the time, but once they figured it out, it became pretty impressive to watch. So I'm rambling on as it is easy to do about Lane Hutson. I thought he had a spectacular month of December. Obviously, he's very deserving of the Rookie of the Month. And I just think we're going to continue to see him get better, not just because we're fans and we want him to get better, but because he's shown how smart he is, not just on the ice, but also off the ice, and his ability to improve, to work on his game, to adapt, adjust, and get better. And I think it's going to be a really fun thing to watch over the next few years, to watch this kid grow into what I think is probably going to be the best, if not one of the best defensemen in the NHL.
Exactly. And I think Joseph is right about this. Talk about this. We want to welcome two people, new people in the chat. Devin, Mr. Billy, welcome in the house. And Uli Smith, glad to be with us. Guys, if you can both subscribe, but also click on the like. But the most of the thing is come back. That's the key. You have better people in the chat at knowledge about hockey, ask about, and they interact between all of them. This is make the show better for all of you to talk about the Montreal Canadiens or anything about hockey. Us, we're not expert, me and Devin. We're just two people come here talking about hockey, and we just want sharing our passion with all of you. And that's the only thing we know and we do. That's it. We're not better to anybody in the chat. You statement of the post is the same equal like we do. And honestly, we are around many times on the projection, Devin, about the Montreal Canadiens or anything about NHL. Only Devin is perfect at 100%, but that's a subject. It's more I was thinking about enough that, but about that. So look, this is great to see that. Ron with Kings, welcome back in the chat. Kings, Ron just watched the lesson Kings won today. Very impressive, Ron. I would love to have you to join us at some point talking about the Kings the next couple of nights. It'd be great to run to join the panel or the house. If you want to do that, that'd be great. But now we have to move on. If you don't mind, Devin, we have a lot of subject to talk about this. The next subject was not about after Lane Hutson, is a little bit, and I did a lot of things about the Let's Review 2024 Montreal Canadiens. We're going to go by step. I'm going to invite you to talking about the situation for the Montreal Canadiens, and we're going to start right away here. When you have many graphics, you try to find out where are they. And the year 2024 is right here after Lane Hutson. So let's see what that one was there. The Montreal Canadiens, the review of the year for January 1st, 2024, all the way to January 25. So when we look about this event, we have to include the end of the season 2023-2024. Don't forget that. And we have to include the beginning of the season 2024-2025. And you have to include what happening during the off season, April 16, all the way to October 9. What happening with Montreal Canadiens? So I'm going to give you guys a ton of number, and the chat after that give us what do you think about what happening for the Montreal Canadiens and who is the best player, what happening with the management. So it's really I go deep. Devin, I'm going to ask you your comments about different things. First of all, Montreal Canadiens during that year they play 83 games. They have a record of 78 points, 32, 37, 14. They have 27 in the standing. The goal for is 2.95, 19. This is an improvement if you think about this. The goal again, they're still struggling, 3.43, 28 in NHL. The power play, 18.9, 27. The PK, this is where the improvement the most during the year of 2024. The PK is at 81.0, 8 overall, and the face-up is at 49.2, 21 and the NHL and the standing compared to the 31 other team in NHL. That's happening for the Montreal Canadiens. So when you see those numbers, anything pay you attention, Devin, or something said, you know what? That's maybe a better year was my expectation was because I realized, so wow, 83 game, they have 78 points. That's almost like 500 overall with, half of the year where they was already eliminated and the team was not where they are today. And we talk about 6 weeks, maybe 7 weeks at the beginning of the season. They're struggling. It's not a bad year overall.
Yeah, it's not a bad year overall. And I mean, again, like you look at those numbers and you wonder why why we were as upset at times last year, during the last year as we were. Again, when you consider that this was, I guess, what would it be? It would be like the second year or from a year and a half to the 2.5 years into a rebuild. These are times where we should have expected the team to struggle, and they certainly did at times. And but when you look at a record of only 5 games under 500, it's not terrible. And when you consider how much they've grown and where they are in the rebuild and where they are in their process, the idea that they will improve on these numbers is something to look forward to. We always talk about goals for over 3, goals against under 3. Obviously, I think that's the biggest number that needs to be improved in all of those numbers. The power play has been substantially better this year, even though, for whatever reason, a lot of Montreal Canadiens fans were complaining, about the power play all through October and November and even into December, because they wanted Lane Hutson on the first power play. But I think, the power play has been good. And the fact that they do have 2 power play units, two legitimate power play units is one of the reasons why their power play has been as good as it is, and I think we're only going to see it continue to get better with Patrick Laine in the lineup. And certainly, I don't expect to see them anywhere close to 27th in the near future. I think the days of them being in the bottom 3 or 4 in the league in power play are long gone. The penalty kill again, that's an incredible number when you think about how how low they were in the standings, but they had a pretty impressive penalty kill, and again the penalty kill continues to be impressive. Now I think one of the interesting things will be some of the guys that we expect that the team may not have, at the end of this year, whether it's at the trade deadline or in the offseason, are guys who contribute to that penalty kill, whether it's, Dvorak or Armia, or even Jake Evans, potentially, David Savard, Mike Matheson, all of those guys, those are key guys in the penalty kill. The penalty kill, I don't think, is a pretty underappreciated aspect of the hockey game, right? Like, a lot of fans don't sort of, obviously the power play gets a lot more attention than the penalty kill ever will, because it's, sexier and, there's goals scored and whatever, you don't get a lot of attention for blocking shots on a penalty kill, but, they're an important part of the game. And, you know, Brendan Gallagher and Josh Anderson and, guys like that who, don't get a lot of press. And in fact, take a lot of negative press. Certainly, at the end of last year, they certainly took a lot of negative press, but, they certainly contribute in their own ways. So I look forward to, I guess my big takeaway from that is that, those numbers aren't as bad as I thought they might be. And, the fact that, we can improve on those and move away from those, we're already ahead of it already, heading into into the season. I guess we haven't played any games yet, but the last 4 games have been pretty. They're pointing us in the right direction, I guess. And so I look forward to them, improving those numbers, and I look forward to being here with you next year and seeing how much better those numbers are, in a year from now compared to what they were in the last year. Again, the
Yep.
rebuild, it's a progress, and each year things. It's sorry, it's nice to look at a big picture, because typically as fans we tend to get over emotional based on short sample size, right? We get mad because the last 3 games haven't been good, or we get really happy because the last 3 games have been really good. And so it's a good exercise, I think, to look at a big picture of an entire year and realize that, it really wasn't that bad, right? It really wasn't that bad. Like, yeah, we're going to have, days where, people are planning the Stanley Cup parade because the Canadiens won 4 games in a row. And then we're going to have other times where they're ready to fire the entire management and the coaching staff and trade half the team because they lost 9-2 to the Pittsburgh Penguins, right? But when you look at the big picture like this over a period of, 80 some games, then you get a better picture and you realize that things aren't that bad.
Yeah, if you want to look this number, I'll give you an example. The goal for increasing a point 4. The goal again is the same average they was before. The average of the power play is 1.6 more, and then the PK increasing. Honestly, I think it was 76, 77. So you're increasing about 4 or 5%. The PK is the most important number. The face-off drop compared to the year before. So just give you, I should put the number there, but I know they are on my head, so I knew already what happened for the Montreal Canadiens last season. But the Montreal Canadiens review for the full year, 83 game, guys. This is key. I have 81 points, Caulfield 73 points, Sakeski 58 points, 53 points for Mike Madison, and then Jake Evans come now the forward with a number of 40 points, a little bit more points like Armia, Anderson, Gallagher, everybody like that. I'm going to go with the goal assist. Devin, then you can compare about that. The most goal during the year is Caulfield at 37 and 83 game. This is key, 33 point a goal. Gallagher 21. Sakeski Armia finished with 20 goals in the game of the season of 83 and 2024. And the most assists for the Montreal Canadiens. Ziski 48, Madison 46, Sakeski 38, Caulfield 36. But I want you guys pay attention. Lane Hutson, during the 39 game he played in 2024, have 26 assists. If we double the number of the game exactly almost approximately 83 games, 78. That would give him 52 assists. It would be the player with the most assists for the Montreal Canadiens. So per game, Hutson is already above every one of them for the most assists. When you look about the number of the point, what do you think so far of the year 2024 for those players? And that gave you what you pay you a little bit more attention. I have one good thing about this, but I would like to hear from you about the situation for the goal, assist, and the point. Are you happy to see those numbers for those players? Yes or no? I don't want to talk yet about the one did not reach those numbers because we're going to talk about them the next graphic event. So focus on the goal, assist, the point. How happy are you about those players?
I'm really happy about those numbers. I think those numbers are all sort of right in line of what you would expect for these guys, right? We've always talked about Suzuki being a point per game guy, and he was. We talk about Cole Caulfield, being a guy who could be a 40, 50 goal scorer, and he's basically on that pace. It's funny, the first graphic that you put up of the points, Coach, um, is essentially what all of those players project to finish with this year in points. So again, yeah, I mean, I don't, do we wish Slavkovsky would, maybe, step things up a little bit, quicker? Yeah, but he's 20 years old, and his progress is gonna happen. So if Slavkovsky finishes the season this year with 58 points, then we're happy with that. So I think those numbers are exactly where you want them to be. Caulfield obviously last year, I think he was working on the last half of last year, which is included in your numbers. He was working on things, so his goal numbers are probably going to be down a little bit. But again, all of these guys are where you want them to be. Like we talk about prospects, and the fact that not all prospects make it, and not all prospects become NHLers, and not all prospects live up to expectations. Well, all of these guys are living up to expectations. They're exactly where you would, obviously they need to continue improving, but where you would expect them to be at this stage of their career. They're all right where you want them.
You're right about that. Look, this is a good number. Um, that gave exactly for Ziski. If I go back on his graphic, Ziski has what 81 point. Is 2 point to reach the 1 point per game. So it's very close. Uh, Caulfield 33 point. If you get those numbers every year for Caulfield, this is what I'm looking for. You know,
Yeah.
um, that's okay for 32 point a plus. If you can reach 35 to 45 gold per year. I'm happy with that one over there. Sakeski 58, not a bad for 20 years old. It's going to become better and better. Don't be worried about Sakeski. Madison is Madison. Don't worry about that. And Jake Evan is surprised. 15 gold, 25 assists, 40 points. But right now is play his best month of his career. So we have to wait if he can repeat this in January and February and March. Many of you said you should sign him right away. I would say no. Not at all. Just wait. Yeah, no rush to sign him. No rush. In my opinion. Yeah, no rush. And see what he looked like, Devin, is value at the trade market. Then after that, you can see what it would be the best for the Montreal Canadiens. And he will give you a 3 month to see Jake Evans progression. That will give you the possibility to hear the value of Jake Evans on the market. And that will give Montreal Canadiens a better view to negotiate with Jake Evans after that to say, look, that's what we have for you with the Montreal Canadiens. I think this is a 3-step Montreal have to do to sign Jake Evans. You get him right now, it's too hot right now
The
for
only
Jake Evans.
the only thing I would say about that, Coach, is to me the biggest leverage that the Montreal Canadiens have with Jake Evans is sort of the non-monetary side of his contract. The idea that the Canadiens drafted him in the 7th round, the Canadiens developed him, they gave him a chance when probably most other teams wouldn't have given him a chance. They stuck with him, while he was in Laval. They kept him, and he's been part of this team. He's grown up with some of these young players. He's part of the rebuild, and can you sell him on taking a little bit less money to stay in Montreal and to be, to continue to be a part of this, whatever you want to call it, that this group that they're building. We talk about how close these guys are and how they get along on and off the ice and they hang out with each other, and they talk about they love each other and they want to work for each other and they want to be there for each other. To me, that is one of the sort of negotiating points that the Canadians have that other teams won't have. And again, the logic of waiting until after the trade deadline or waiting till the end of the season is clearly there. But I wonder if there is a benefit to going to him earlier and saying, listen, we understand that you're going to be a valuable guy at the end of this year and you're having a wonderful season, but we want you to be on our team and we think you have a role on our team and you've been a part of this team. And, is there any way for us to convince you, to sign for maybe less than what you might get on the free agent market so that, we can continue to have you and you can continue to be a part of this? No, is that maybe a little bit naive to think that, an NHL hockey player is going to leave $500,000 a year on the table just so he can be with his friends and his buddies? Maybe it is. But again, um, Jake Evans seems like he might be that kind of guy.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm going to talk more about Jake Evans and the way great comments about that. So let's move on with other subject, but not other subject, but a review of Montreal Canadiens and the player now is Samuel Montembeau. 23, 24, 8, 3.06, save percentage on 902. With the most when he got 23, he has 21 with a goaltender. The goaltender guys need to have 40 game starter. If you are 36, 35, that does not count. So 3.06 is 28 in NHL. A save percentage is 24 in NHL. A quick 2 minute about Samuel Montembeau. What do you feel? How do you see him in the future? And what do you think about his year 2024 with the Montreal Canadiens? So here we go, David.
Well, I think he's been one of the more underrated players in the NHL, let alone goalies. Um, like his numbers, those numbers are impressive when you consider, what the team that he had in front of him, certainly for the second half of last year. And I guess, even the first half of this year. But if you dig a little bit deeper into some of the, the secondary stats and sort of the advanced analytics, numbers like, goals expected above, goals saved above expected, numbers like that. He's in the mix with some of the best goalies in the NHL. So again, it's obviously, it was hard to argue that, a guy who goalie on one of the, the worst teams in the NHL last year, was that good, but the reality is he was. And goalies, in my opinion, and again, I know not everybody agrees with me on this, goalies are typically, not completely, but in large part, they're a reflection of the team that they play behind. And for Samuel Montembeau last year to have the numbers that are on the screen in front of us right now, above 900 save percentage, basically a 500 record, with the young defense that he played behind, um, him being picked for Team Canada is no surprise. And I was calling for it last year. He's a special goalie. I think he's very good. And, again, as a young goalie and just like any other young player, the last thing to develop in a young hockey player is consistency. And, if there was a complaint about Samuel Montembeau before, sort of the last month or month and a half, it was that sometimes, he could, show up and just not be ready to go. But, he's certainly shown some consistency. And again, if you put those numbers on the screen and you covered up, Samuel Montembeau's name and you ask people to say, which goalie is that? I don't think very many people would guess that those are the numbers of a Montreal Canadiens goaltender.
Yeah, you're absolutely about that. Just finished one thing about this. Uh, is a good tool. Talk about Habs Nation. Great comment that chat, guys. Keep pushing, guys. You're amazing. I love what you're talking about, John. And this is the reason, Devin, I like to do show now with 2 people, 3 people, because it made chance to interact with the people. They ask questions, statement, comments, so I can add with them. Then you consist to the really great comments. So It's a great combination to have the people like you and Artab and Marco every night to helping the grow of the channel and of course to talking about hockey. So event, well done again. Let's move on. Montreal Canadiens trade. Monahan at the traded line, they got a first round pick and a conditional third round pick, but it was returning because they not met the condition of the trade. So Monahan got the first round pick. And Montreal got that pick, the 26th overall pick, and they trade with 57 to get the 21st, and they select Michael Edge. We'll talk about this later. Allen trade for the third round pick. They have a condition with that. Kovacevic was traded for the fourth round pick. Jordan Harris was traded for Patrick Laine at a second round pick. And then Justin Barron was traded for Alexandre Carrier. Now, we trade two times, one for Jacob Perreault, and we trade him after that. Minor trade, I'll not include, guys. Is not worry about that. Not necessary talking about this anyway. But when you see that board or that graphic, David, what pay you your attention and what tell you what the general manager can use does with the Montreal Canadiens? So evaluate use and the transaction on the board and the impact at short term and long term. I know it's a lot of many questions.
Yeah.
Try to get the best answer at what I just asked you. That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I think of when I look at that list is I thank God Marc Bergevin's gone, right? Like those are all pretty good moves, and I think that I mean, the only trade in there that you might or that you might complain about would be the Kovacevic one, and again, I personally didn't like the Kovacevic trade at the time. Because I thought he still had a role on the team. I thought he was one of the better defensive defensemen on the Canadiens last year. I thought he should have stayed. It had nothing to do with how well he's played for the Devils, which obviously is all 2020 hindsight. And I don't think it's fair to criticize the trade based on that. But I mean, last year Kovacevic was the defenseman on the Canadiens, I believe, who finished with a positive plus minus. But again, he had to go. There was just numbers wise, he was a guy who they had to move. They had to move somebody, and he was the most obvious guy. So, the Monahan trade. I mean, he gets 2 first-round picks. He gets a first-round pick for getting Monahan, and then he gets another first-round pick for trading Monahan. Would it be nice to have Monahan on this team still? Yeah, absolutely. Monahan's a good hockey player. But then turning the 26th pick into Michael Hage, who again, he's still a long ways from the NHL. Looks like he's a premium prospect. Again, we talked, earlier in the show about, getting good players lower in the draft and how you can get good players, with the 13th, 12th, 13th, 14th pick if you have good scouting and what have you. Michael Hage looks like he could be an example of that, a guy who went 21st, but certainly is playing in the NCAA like a top 5 draft pick, right? He's putting up numbers. At least his offensive game looks that way. Again, he's got a long way to go, and we have no idea what he's going to turn into. The Jake Allen trade is they had to get rid of a goalie, and I think they made a move for Jake Allen. They got an asset in return. I think what they also did, both with the Monahan and the Allen trade, as well as they pardon me, they improved their reputation around the league as far as Montreal being a good place to play. Like they talk about, I don't know if you've heard this reference. You hear talk, make your city a destination. We heard the Buffalo Sabres general manager a couple of weeks ago talking about how Buffalo's not a destination because they don't have palm trees and it's a high tax state and whatever. Well, there's other things you can do to make your team a destination and a place where players want to come. And one of those things you can do is you can be straightforward, and you can be a good guy or a good management to your players. So Sean Monahan was a guy who Kent Hughes promised, when the time comes, we will give you the opportunity to go to a contending team, right? And it would have been very easy for Kent Hughes to say, well, no, you're actually playing really good right now, and we could use you on this team, and we want you to stay. But Kent Hughes kept his word, and he sent Monahan to a contender last year. He sent him to the Winnipeg Jets. Jake Allen was the same thing, right? An older guy who probably didn't want to finish his career playing on a rebuilding team with a bunch of young kids who were going to probably lose the better part of their games. he did well by Jake Allen by sending him to a good opportunity, sent him to a place where he wanted to be. So those trades don't really mean a lot, but other players notice that, right? And so when it comes time for other players to deal with Kent Hughes, they're going to be dealing with a guy who they can trust and they can respect, and they can he's a guy that they're going to feel comfortable working with. Um, the Line trade again, I think again, I mean a steal, a literal steal. Like not only did they get Line in return for Harris, they also got a second round draft pick out of it. And even if Patrick Line had turned out to be absolutely nothing, they got rid of a defenseman who they realistically didn't have room for in the lineup, and they would have still got a second. Like even if it was Harris for a second round draft pick, and take Line out of the equation, it's still a good trade. Yeah, they took on his salary, but being in a rebuild, they can afford it. And finally, the Carrier trade, we talked about it earlier, and it was talked about in the comments. How Carrier has made a huge difference on this team. Not only is he a better defenseman than Justin Barron, I think I kind of am disappointed a little bit that Jaden Struble has been lost in the mix a bit. But Carrier, is been a solid top four defenseman. He's logging 18 to 20 minutes. He's allowed Caden Gooley to go back to playing on the left hand side, which we talked about. But one of the other things he's done too is he's allowed Lane Hutson and Mike Matheson's minutes to be reduced. Right, the last couple games, if you look, Mike Matheson hasn't played 25 or 26 minutes. He's playing 21 or 22 minutes. And that's a big thing for this team. And we've talked about it in the past, right? One of the reasons why Mike Matheson struggles, I think, is a little bit is because he's putting in those 25, 26 minutes a game. That's a lot of work. And so I think that Mike Matheson becomes a better defenseman and a better contributor to this team, if he's playing 20, 21 minutes instead of 25, 26 minutes. So, all of those trades to me are very positive. I mean, again, I'm a Kent Hughes fan. Those of you who've been on the show before know that I went to high school with him and his brother. So I'm obviously going to be a little bit biased that way, but I don't see any of those trades. I don't see any negative coming out of those trades. I mean, obviously Michael Hage still has to prove himself, and there's still a lot of time to pass by before we can make a conclusion on all of those trades. But when I look at those trades, I don't see any that don't make sense, and I think they're all really positive moves for the Montreal Canadiens, and even the ones that aren't that big a deal, right? Like it's not like he's out there trying to it always drives me crazy when I hear commentators talking about how they need to make a big splash. They need why do you need to make a big splash? You need to make the moves that you need to make your team better. Like you don't have to make a big splash because why? So the fans will be happy or the media will be happy or whatever. You make the moves that you need to do. Whether they're big moves or whether they're small moves. And realistically, other than the Line trade, those are all pretty small moves, but they've all improved the Montreal Canadiens, and I think they're all good. And it's again, it bodes well for us knowing that the Montreal Canadiens have a good general manager running the show between Hughes and Gorton. I think we know that we can now be comfortable that somebody who knows what they're doing is running. And again, the trades they didn't make, right? We can't put up the trades they didn't make. But again, there were lots of times where people were saying, "Oh, they need this and we need that and we need whatever." And Kent Hughes isn't the kind of guy who's going to panic. So, anyways, I'm rambling again, but those are all positive trades for me. And so that combined with the patience and the not sort of feeling compelled to make a trade when things were going badly are all reasons why I think that the Canadiens are in pretty good hands management wise right now.
Yeah, sorry with that. I'm doing the three of the Ben Chariot trade right now.
Yeah.
Very great comments, guys. I'm going to answer to you guys on my next chat tomorrow night, guys. The three on Ben Chariot, because the Ben Chariot trade is the first round pick 2022. Hold on. Ty Similek, and the 4th-round pick 2023. I want to repeat you guys on that number. Let's see, I'm right about this. First round pick and 2023. The 4th-round pick 2022, and Tim Simalik was the trade. So Ben Chariot was sent over there, and the first round pick 2023 and the fourth round pick in 2022. At the fourth round pick, they get Cédric Guindon. Guindon is out of the Montreal Canadiens organization. Now, in 2023, the first round pick, they did something with the pick, I believe, because now they select number 5 with David Rebacker. So I need to find the pick of the Philadelphia Panthers 2023 to find out that answer. So if someone knows that, let me know. If not, I'm going to do some research later after the show to figure out that trade. So
What was the
great
question
question
again?
from Yuli about the Ty Simalik. The story start with that one, and then I add a conversation. But I want to mention one thing here, Devin. Great comments about the Montreal right now, but about the trade. Um, Ben Chariot is a great example of Jake Evans' situation. I believe Ben Chariot played his best time of his career at the playoff Montreal Canadiens when they raced all the way to Tampa Bay Lightning. Remember that? When
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
he was set on the top 4. That was his best hockey game. He never played before in the NHL. At the traded line the following year, he got traded for the transaction I'm talking about. He played for Philip Panthers. He never reached the same level of hockey with the Philip Panthers. They never signed him back. He signed a 4 year contract by Eisenman, and look how he looked like today. He never reached the same level of Ben Chariot. This for me a great red flag of to see a player play his best time of his life in hockey, and what could happen after that. Said that, and I said Jake Evans is going to be like Ben Chariot, but you have to be a little bit more caution to give a contract right away to Jake Evans because he have a good month of hockey. We have to wait a little bit longer to see what he can repeat this year after years. Now, the next 3 years, the 2 months I said earlier, that just make more sense to me. It's a common sense to know about Jake Evans. But I just want to open up that conversation. A lot of people chat like that. We appreciate a lot that trade, that 2025 for New Hook.
There's a really good article, Coach.
Well said for you. You're absolutely right about this. The 31st overall pick and the 37th was straight for Alex Newhook. So Ben Chariot got you Cédric Guindon, Ty Simalik, and that pick go for Alex Newhook. Not a bad trade if you consider what happening after that for the Montreal Canadiens right now. So well done, everybody. Really appreciate your help about that. You want to add something, David, before we move the next one?
No, I just wanted on about what you were just saying about Jake Evans. There's a pretty good article written by Brian Wild. I don't know if you read Brian Wild on that very same topic where he talks about, is Jake Evans, is this the best we're ever going to see from Jake Evans? And if it is, then, is it going to be a mistake to try and give him the kind of money that, he looks like he's worth right now, for a long term, and whether or not, that should be a consideration for the Canadians. I don't know that I agree with that completely. I think that there's more of a track record there for Jake Evans than there was for Ben Sherratt. But yeah, no, I take the point. And, again, you've got to be very careful about paying guys who are doing something in their career that they've never, ever done before, right? That's obviously something that you don't want to, as a GM, you don't want to be doing. And again, speaking about the confidence in Kent Hughes, I'm quite confident that he's going to, to be aware of that. And, he's not a dummy. Like he's not going to be rushing to give Jake Evans $5 million a year just because he had, the best, 3 months of his career. So we'll see.
Well, son, now the next thing, guys, 2024, the draft. Demidov got draft 5th. Michael S. 21st, Cuivo 70, Sawyer 78, and Prost at 102, Top 130, Vic Vanags at 134, Merrill 166, Cannon 210, Burvis 224. How do you see qualify that NHL draft by Ken Hughes and his staff on the between A to D with plus or minus? What do you think about that? And what makes change the Montreal Canadiens a long term? Any players? We know the mid-offs, what's going on. Any other players of that NHL draft could surprise you? Maybe one or two of them.
Yeah, I mean, history tells us that realistically, other than Demidov and Hage, the remainder of those guys have very little chance of playing in the NHL. So, obviously, I don't think we need to spend too much time talking about Demidov and Hage. We've already done that. Um, I think that I know you're a Thorpe fan, as am I. I think he's an intriguing prospect. I think he needs to work on his game. Protz is an intriguing guy as well. Um, I guess Sawyer would be as well, but um, I mean, it's hard. I mean, to me, Bergfist and what he's doing at the World Juniors is kind of impressive for a guy who drafted 224th overall. So again,
This is really impressive. This is Devin.
yeah,
This is crazy. I follow him a
yeah,
lot, right? I follow every day what's going on. At 224, this story about Burvis, guys. Now I don't say he is like him, but the story of Burvis is exactly what happened with Adam Ekstrom. The way his progression and from G20 national team to the SHL, and then he got many minutes. And look what he did with Team Sweden. Now he's draft 96, I believe, or 92 overall pick. I know it's not 7th round pick, but Ramis Burvis is very good
yeah.
players.
Yeah, and I mean Vic Vanix. I think it'll be interesting to see how he does now that he's going to be playing in the Quebec League. I think he Acadie Bathurst, so he'll be with Bathurst Titan, and then he'll of course be moving with the team, I guess, to Newfoundland for next year. But the guy that really intrigues me out of those guys, and I think we've talked about it before, Coach, is Thorpe. Big guy, appears to have a bit of an offensive upside. We saw him in training camp this year. He looked impressive. I think obviously speed needs to be worked on. But that's the guy, sort of. I mean, other than Demidov and Hage, that's the guy that I'm kind of most interested and the guy who might be the guy who could surprise of that group. Of course, Bergfist, obviously we just talked about. Ben Merrill, I don't know. I mean, I follow him. He doesn't seem to be doing a whole lot in the BC League, but again, these guys are young, and there's still a lot of development to happen for them. So it'll be interesting. But Thorpe is the guy in that group, and Protz maybe. Thorpe or Protz, I guess, would be the two guys that would jump out at me. I noticed in the comments earlier somebody talking about how it would have been nice to try and get um, Lane's brother Cole Hutson. I don't think it was in the cards based on the numbers of the pick, and I know, Coach, that you're sort of hesitant about having two guys with a similar style on the same team, smaller defensemen, but yeah, no. I thought it was a great draft by the management. The way they were able to, for the second year in a row, to pull a little bit of a rabbit out of their hat at the draft, off the draft floor. Moving up to get Michael Hage, which was clearly a guy that they had their eye on. And again, Demidov was obviously a guy they had their eye on as well. And to be able to get him at fifth when a lot of people were talking about him going as high as second, I think was, again, it's nice to have a management team for a change that is able to pull off, these small miracles as opposed to the ones that kind of, leave you feeling a little bit disappointed, as we've seen in the past. So I thought it was a great draft for Montreal, and it'll obviously remain to be seen. But I thought they did really well.
Well said about that. Look, Demidov, we know Edge would be very interesting for him. I think he returned with Michigan. That will be my prediction about Michael Edge for next year. Kuivo, firstly, he was ill for 6 weeks with a mononucleosis. Sawyer, not bad for Providence. Played there at 19 years old, 18, 19 years old, play NCAA, not bad at all. Pratt, good year for Bradford, still a lot to improve. Tyler Top is really for me the player where is shocking me, will surprise me. 13, 14 goals yesterday. He played right now today. I don't know the result of that game. And then Vec Van
0
X.
points.
Okay. Vec Van X, unfortunately, the NC route burned him. He went to the BCHL and he was not the goalie number one. He's struggling with that. Merrill, he has like 9 goals, 1 assist so far, BCHL. Cannon struggling with the MHL right now. And Burvis is a situation. Great draft pick for the Montreal Canadiens. I gave them a B plus. But the key right there, I would give him an A plus to get Demidov. Not because their talent or the scout, but to have a gift to get Demidov is excellent. Let's move on, guys, on the next thing to talk about, the review of the 2024 Montreal Canadiens. Now, I'm not perfect. I try my best to give you the best happening. I'm going to forget something. Please share with me. If you see something you think is a reviewing about 2024, I will bring attention and I will bring to Devin. I'll just give you an overview of what I'm thinking about 2024. First of all, the injury of Patrick Laine, David Rebacker hurt the Montreal Canadiens. Remember last year, Jekai and Dvorak hurt the season with their injury, end of the injury. Dvorak played 34 games. I think Jekai played 44 games or 51 games, unfortunately for him. They're struggling last year. Josh Anderson, 9 goals only during the year. Kirby Dak, Alex Newhook for this season. Primo this season. And Logan Mailloux, two prospects who maybe them struggling this year with the Montreal Canadiens. The standing for me is honestly is Lane Hutson. Now, when I say standing Lane Hutson, I really, and I'm always defend Lane Hutson for the last 3 years. I always believe on him. But the way he's adapt with NHL is better. What my expectation is stunning for me. Great year for Jake Evan is stunning. Eamon and Eamon is my fourth star for the Montreal Canadiens. And Eamon 9 goals so far. What a great story for him. And then the good story so far this year is the progression Jekai, the Montembeault, Sakoski combined the year 2024. Now he said you're going through struggles this year. I would say, wait a minute. We have to talk more about him tomorrow night. Gallagher, really impressive again for him. Josh Anderson, what a great bounce back. Maybe that's the bounce back of the year for the Montreal Canadiens. Armia, after 17 goals last year, the question was, can he repeat? He's on direction to do the same thing this season. The improvement of power play at 21.9, we said earlier, 0.6, and the PK right now for the year 81.0 are all the improvement for the Montreal Canadiens, I believe. Yes, you're going to tell me something else. It's okay. You're not going to be hurt me. This is the way we do that, guys. Sharing your opinion, that's the best way to have a better conversation in that chat, and you are the one can make this better. So, Devin, you have this in front of you.
Yeah.
Stir the pot
Yeah.
and give us what you think about 2024 overall. And like I said, I forget something. Someone pay attention. Bad year, good year, whatever it is, please bring it to us.
Yeah, I mean, I think you did a really good job there, Coach. I mean, I don't think there's much there that I could possibly disagree with. Anderson's resurgence, and Anderson and Gallagher both, right? Two guys that have sort of redefined their games and sort of changed the way that they contribute to the team, and they've accepted that role. And obviously, at their salaries, it's not ideal. And if the Canadiens were a team that were trying to contend, that would probably be a bit of a problem. But for those guys to have accepted their roles and to sort of take them on in the way that they have, they've been great. I mean, I've even noticed in the last 3 or 4 games, Josh Anderson is starting to get some of his offensive feel back a little bit. He's not finishing, ideally, but he made a couple plays in that game against Las Vegas that looked like the old Josh Anderson, right? It's so again, Anderson and Gallagher. Gallagher looks like he's maybe, I don't want to say he's falling off a little bit, but again, Gallagher is a guy who, obviously has had a lot of injuries and he kind of struggles with that, and he needs to, be sheltered a little bit as far as ice time and whatever. But I guess the one name that's not on there that I would probably mention is Mike Matheson, because I feel like he's been steady all the way through. He's been a guy who he's a guy who's put in 26, 25, 26 minutes a game, last year, this year. His offensive numbers are obviously down a little bit this year. I think he's probably playing with an injury right now, so he's kind of struggled. He's had some bad games, but he's had some really good games. But he's been a very reliable guy. He's the guy that Martin St. Louis looks down the bench and he knows that he can put him on the ice in any situation, and that it's probably going to be okay. So again, that would be a name that I would maybe add on there. Again, I know you've got a bunch of names on there already, so it's not a criticism by any means. I guess another guy would be Gouli, right? We're seeing Gouli continue to improve from last year. As a young, we still forget how young Gouli is. We almost consider him to be a veteran on the defensive core of this team right now, but he's still, super young. and he continues to get better, and now we're seeing how good he can be when he's playing on his when he's on his strong side, and it just continues to get better. So um, I agree with all of that. I mean, it's again, I have a hard time sort of finding any fault with the names you've put on there. Um, Jack Guy again is a great story, like a guy who just continues to get better, a guy who couldn't get drafted into junior hockey, right? Arbor Jack Guy, like the story is that he was about to get cut from his junior hockey team, and they were taping up his sticks and putting his bag and getting ready to put it out in the hallway so that he could go back home and play junior B hockey. And he kind of went in and talked to the coach and asked for one more chance, and here he is 5 years later playing in the NHL, and he just continues to get better all the time. So the injuries obviously were a big part of last year, and knock on wood, we've kind of moved past that a little bit, other than the Line injury. So again, I look for all of those. I mean, all even the struggling ones, like obviously Reinbacher is going to not be back, and we're going to not have him for the rest of the year. But other than Mayu, all of the names on that board are sort of in a positive place right now. Like Line is in a positive place, Jack Guy's in a positive place, Dvorak's in a positive place. Doc and Newhook certainly in the last 3 games look like they're in a more positive place. Primo's in a positive place in the sense that he's in Laval. Mayu, obviously, I don't think is in a positive place, but Hutson, Evans, Heineman, Jack Guy, Montembeault, Slavkovsky. Obviously, maybe we could hope for a little bit more from Slavkovsky, but all those guys are in good places right now. So, it's all about progression, and all of those guys, to me, progressed over 2024 and look like they're heading into 2025, and only going to get better.
You also got great comments there. We have player like you can figure out what you can put there, but I think I was trying to highlight the most what happening in 2024. So you can see I did not try to focus on negativity or the players, everything like that. We have to see the development of different progression. Now I can go also on the prospect for the Montreal Canadiens. But if you look about the prospect, I will give you just another review, guys. They are the top 5 best organization with a prospect for the Montreal Canadiens. They sit out to see what happening with Rebecca, Demidov, Fowler, Michael Edge. Honestly, they are the top 4 prospect for the Montreal Canadiens. Have other players we have to look about what they're going to do and the future with the Montreal again. We don't mention yet Angstrom, maybe Jekai, Owen Beck is another one there. Look, this is looking good for the Montreal at long term. The way we said all the times about progression, development, and how to learn to win game in NHL for the team and play with the NHL team. So I think this is a great way to see that for the Montreal Canadiens for the upcoming season for 2024 and 2025 next year, next following year after that. So I'll try to get back here, if you don't mind, here, Devin. And if I have something else, no, I don't have anything else. Let's review the 2024-2025 for the Montreal Canadiens. So look, this is a great reviewing of the season, of the year of the 2024 for the Montreal Canadiens. For me, if you look about this, you have any moments during the year 2024, you get maybe excited, say this is the best thing happening for the Montreal Canadiens. And maybe one thing said, this is not looking good for Montreal again. The opposite side, like we do all the time, the stood out and the obscure and the office. So let's finish it that way. Your stood out players for the year 2024, the obscure player of the year 2024, and your at the office for the Montreal Canadiens. So, and the people that say you can do that, I will try to finish a bit early tonight. Listen, Devin, they are so many great things to have you on January 1st, Devin. We're really grateful to have you aboard. You can join his YouTube channel, guys, Recliner Sport on YouTube to increase his number of the subscriber. You don't have to follow him every night. You just have to click on the subscribe. It would be another plus. But if you have an opportunity to have time to watching him every night after the Montreal Canadiens game, is it what after the dark? What is it? I'll call it again.
Yeah, the show is called Habs After Dark, and we go on after. I obviously haven't been on the last couple games because I didn't have a voice, but yeah, we go on about 10 minutes after the game ends. We do a show called Habs After Dark. If that's interesting to you, then head on over. All you got to do, I think you can just click on my name in the chat. I can just do this, and you can click on my name in the chat, and I think it'll take you to my channel. If it doesn't, the channel is Recliner Sports, and just hit subscribe. We basically review the game, and we do the same thing that Coach does. We chat with you guys in the comments, and we talk about the game and what we think about the Canadiens or other teams and what have you. So, yeah, if you're interested, I see there's 63 people in the show right now. Maybe if 15 or 20 of you wanted to go over and just click that subscribe button, that would be awesome. I'm almost at 200 subscribers now, and I want to get to 500 so that I can start to do some of the cool subscription stuff that Coach does. Anyways, I'll get back to the question. So for me, as far as sort of having high points and low points of last year, you know, as you know, Coach, I'm a pretty, I'm pretty on board with the rebuild. The rebuild, I'm completely on board with it. So I had, my expectations were such that I knew that it wasn't going to be, everything wasn't going to be great. I knew they were going to struggle. I knew there were going to be times where they looked really, really, really bad. And I knew there were going to be times where they looked pretty good because they've got good players on that team. I never really got super upset over anything in particular. I was always the guy who, when they lost 9-2 and everybody was ready to jump off a bridge, I was always the guy who was like, okay, just relax, calm down, it'll be okay. And I was also the guy who, when they shut out the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first game of the season, and when they shut out the Edmonton Oilers 3-0, it was like, okay, well, just hold on. Like, this isn't, let's not plan the Stanley Cup parade just yet. But if you were to, if you're going to hold me down and force me to pick a low time for this team, for me, I think it probably was, in training camp when Patrick Laine got hurt, right? So, we were all looking forward to seeing him play. He looked like he was, excited to be back on the ice, and he was, playing quite well. And, it didn't work out, obviously, as we all know. And so that was pretty depressing for me to sort, and it wasn't even so much from a perspective of not, not that it was going to make them not play as well, or that they were going to struggle to win games because Patrick Laine wasn't in the lineup. It was more about, like, I wanted to watch him play, and it was going to be fun and exciting to watch him play, and he was going to make the players around him better, and that this was certainly going to be a step back for them mentally. Reinbacher too, right? The Reinbacher injury happening, in the very same game. So that was a bit of a struggle for me. As far as sort of the up moment, I guess, for me, it's just the last week. This is what they've been working towards, and it's, a sign that they continue to progress and get better. It's a sign that the rebuild is working. It's a sign that we need to be patient and to just let it happen, let it work itself out, and let, Martin St. Louis do what he does best, and let, Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton do what they do best, and let the players do what they do best. And, yes, there's going to be, more bad times to come. But I think as time goes on, the good times are going to start to outweigh the bad times, and the team is just going to continue to get better. So as far as 2024 goes, for me, the biggest thing I take out of it is that things got better as the year progressed. Obviously the beginning of this year was a bit of a struggle, but again, the team just continues to get better and better and better, and that's all you really look for in a rebuild, right? You look for, their improvement. When I do my show, Habs After Dark, one of the things we do is a report card after every game, because I don't think it's fair to judge a rebuilding team on whether they win or lose a game. So sometimes, they might lose a game, but there's a lot of positive things to take out of the game. Sometimes they might win a game, but they played really crappy. So to me, like, there's a lot of things that you look for to see whether or not this team is improving, whether or not the rebuild is working, whether or not, they continue to get better, whether they continue to learn how to win, like we keep talking about, Coach. And I think we saw a lot of that this year. I think we saw a lot of positives. But again, it's kind of nice to sit back and look at this from way up above, as opposed to sort of judging this team based on, their last 3 or 4 games. We can judge them on an entire season. And when we do look at the big picture like that, I think we certainly see a team that's heading in the right direction, and a team that is going to be pretty fun to watch. For me, they're fun to watch. You and I, Coach, they're fun to watch anyway. Like, even when they're losing, you and I, we enjoy watching, Ivan Demidov play. We enjoy watching the guys who are in junior hockey play. We enjoy watching NCAA. Like last year, I watched a ton of Lane Hutson. I watched a ton of Michael Hage this year. I watched a ton of Yvonne. So it's to me, it's always been fun. But as far as the NHL team itself and the big team goes, I think that this is going to be an exciting year coming forward. And if they continue to improve at the rate they have over the past year, I think we're looking at a team that's right on track. To complete a rebuild and become a powerhouse in the NHL in the next few years. Again, I don't want to put timelines on anything, but I think they're just going to, if they continue to get better at this pace, I think we're in for a pretty fun ride.
Great point about this. I just try to answer to Steven. So my college, honestly, was also not only the dad, the pass away of his dad, but also injuries did not hurt his ranking at the NHL draft prospect. Consider before that when he played the GTHL top 10 and the prospect, but injury and the situation with his dad that make it friends or that situation for him. So we want to wish a happy new year for the new people pop up for the last 15 minutes in our tab. John B, Jeremy N, and I forget many of you, Martin Bezinet. If I forgot some of you, I apologize. I cannot give all the time a welcome everybody one by one. It's difficult for me to follow, but I want to say to everyone, Happy New Year 2025. Thanks to join us. Don't forget, guys, to click on the likes. Look, 2024 was amazing for the Montreal Canadiens overall. I see progression. I see development. Yeah, more and more positive side at the negative side. It's not going to be perfect, but if we can, get more positive or negative, it's pretty good. I'm not worried about the situation with Kirby Dak right now or Sikorsky or New Hook. It's safe too early. They are young players. We have to give them time. Not worry about them situation. The out player for me, honestly, I will have to give this year and 2024. And, it'd be easy to give to Lane Hutson because the way he play is more impressive. But I will give you I'm going to shocking you guys, Nick Suzuki. Nick Suzuki is the most consistency since the beginning of the 2024. Did not miss any game. First of all, he almost now at 1 point per game. He compete every night against the best line every single night. So his improvement, his progression, on many ways, off ice, on ice, is on the mic every day before, after the game. He never afraid. He lead by leadership, by example. He does many things we don't see and we don't hear with the Montreal Canadiens. So it's not easy to be at the market like the Montreal. He has the temper, he has the character, and he has the behavior to be mature and the leadership to be the captain for Montreal Canadiens. So for me, yes, other player you can mention as a throughout, but I'm talking about overall is what he need to respond every day for me is impressive. He did not miss many game. Like I said, never missed any game with the Montreal. He was straight to the Montreal again. So I'll go with the captain for the out players. Now, the obscure, look, you can go with Josh Anderson respond with, a bounce back year. I would say, you know what? It's not a bad pick at all. That's maybe a great pick about that. But I think overall, I'm going to surprise everyone again. I think for me is Amen and Amen. Um, or I can go with Jake Evan also, but I will go with Amen and Amen because not because he surprised me, because he does a lot of things. He pay all the details of the game. He pay every game does not reflect on the score sheet. So maybe Evans, maybe Amir have a point, and him is does nothing, but he does a lot of the dirty things, and also he played the last minute for any forward. So I will go with him about that. And my other office guy, I know he's not with the Montreal, but I have to go with. It was difficult, but I have to go with Caden Primo. I think he has to be at the office now. Is of course he with Laval Rocket, but that's the reason Montreal struggling for me at the beginning of 6 weeks is one of them. We want a backup number two to give you good number or good chance to win, and Primo fell completely during the beginning of the season 2024. So they are my three players right there. But again, overall, Montreal Canadiens, I'm looking only the positive about that. The The Sakaski at the first 4 months of the year, what he find is growth to get 20 goals, 30 assists for 50 points is impressive. Because right now said, wait a minute, he's have what? I think Sakaski have 21 point or 23 point right now. He's on the pace to 46 point for the 50 point approximately. Not a bad year. Some of you said, oh, he's a bad year. But again, until the Martin said we find the four line at the one same way, Sakaski is going to be back what he was supposed. I'm not worried about Sakaski. That injury, guys, we see his improvement for the last 4 games. I say, you know what? Don't look about this. If he can stay healthy all the way to the end of the year, that would be really a great year for Kirby. That. And then after that, the confidence will come with time, long term. Not a short term, not a middle term, a long term. Give him a chance to develop that way, that'll be fine. Alex Neil play on the wrong share. When he's going to find his right share at the bottom six, Alex Neil is going to give you a lot of great minutes for the Montreal Canadiens at long term with the Montreal Canadiens. Not worry about that at all. So I put this all together, guys. We're going to see tomorrow night, Devin, with Marco. The last road trip for the Montreal Canadiens, and we're going to preview the 2025 for the Montreal next show tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Friday 8 o'clock Chicago Montreal. Saturday 7 o'clock Colorado versus Montreal, and then Sunday we will be back with a weekly recap, and then Montreal come back home for another game for Vancouver Canucks Monday night. This game is dangerous. You don't like to come back home after a long trip like they did, and you don't like to come back home for a third game and 4 nights. So really 3 difficult games for the Montreal Canadiens to travel from now Vegas to Chicago. They will be there all today, and then they're going to be back, and then return to Colorado, and from Colorado out the way back to Montreal. Don't expect too much from Montreal. We hope they're going to improve about that. So will be very interesting what happening with the Montreal Canadiens. So, David, you have the last word of the night. What pay your attention for when you look about the month of December, the year of 2024? Well, there's something really said, you know what, this is like great for the Montreal Canadiens. One name, one players.
Yeah. So first of all, I did not do my 3 players. I forgot when I was talking earlier. I won't do them again because you did them so great. But I'm just looking for them to continue to get better. I'm just looking for them to stick to the plan. Right. What I don't want to see them deviate from the plan. I don't want to see the Canadians sort of say, oh well, we need to sort of try and speed things up, or we need to, we need to do this or we need to do that. They've made a plan. They're committed to the young players. They're committed to, they're committed to winning with their young players no matter what. And, as long as they stick to that, I'm going to be happy. I do think that there's going to be some, steps backwards, but again, Lane Hutson, I can't tell you how excited I am just to see how this kid, like we get to watch Lane Hutson play hockey for the next 15 years. And, I think we're going to get to see one of, a guy who at the end of his career, if he has luck and stays healthy and all that kind of stuff, is going to be a great. I think we're watching the beginning stages of a really good story here with the Montreal Canadiens, and I think we just enjoy it. Like sit back and relax and let it happen. Like again, don't get upset if they play badly for a game or two, or they let you down a little bit. So I'm just excited to see this team continue to see what they're capable of doing. December's been great. Hopefully it can continue into January, and they can carry their momentum forward. So. That's about it. I mean, I'm really happy to be here, Coach. I appreciate it. It's been really a great time the last month or so since you first invited me onto the show. Now I've been on probably 7 or 8 times now. I really enjoy it. It's fun. Yourself, Entertap, Marco. I got to meet a bunch of the people from the chat. We've done a couple shows now where we had, invite only, and everybody gets to come in and have their say. And it's been really a good time meeting all of you, and it's been fun. And hopefully we'll see more of you over on my channel. Like I said, if you want to go over and subscribe over there, that would be awesome. I would really appreciate it. But much thanks to you, Coach. I'm very grateful heading into 2025 to be a part of this, to be able to do my own thing on YouTube, but also to be a part of your thing with Marco and Entertap and you. It's really fun. I enjoy talking about the Montreal Canadiens. As you can tell, I'm never at a shortage for words. And I love that you've given me an opportunity to have a place where I can do that and talk with other people who love the Montreal Canadiens and love hockey as much as I do. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Well said, Devin. We appreciate also for what you bring on the table here at the Hockey Nation Show. So we want to thank all the people that chat tonight, the super chat we got tonight. I really appreciate for Mark Elliott and Ryan. Thanks so much. You guys contribute a lot for the channel off the show, off the record, or end the show. So really kind of you. RJ Calabo, and of course, at the news update. I want to take a moment to say to everybody, Happy New Year. And we wish the best for all of you. And hopefully you're going to be ready. Start already today. And the next 364 days. The best thing to say that, guys, is this way. Is see positive. Every day. Fulfill your day. 24 hours each day. With strength, with faith. And the most important thing is to be and progress and develop your best version of yourself every single day. And you're going to find your happiness, your joys, and drop your negative around you. Don't pick your people around you. Be more selective, and it's okay to say no to others. No problem with that part. And don't compare yourself with anybody. Just be who you are. Look at the mirror every day and say, you know what? I may be old, but I'm still sexy, and I'm still looking for cheese tonight. So that's the way I wake up every morning, and Devin. And we wish everybody Happy New Year. Devin, thanks so much for your show tonight. Glad to having you aboard. You're welcome to come back anytime. Just to mention to me on the chat we got together. So we wish you an amazing, great night. I will see you next time, Devin. I will finish the show alone.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome. See you next time. Thanks so much about that. Here we go, guys. Let's conclude another Montreal Canadiens podcast. Before we leave, we want to remind everybody that's who he is, Devin, and the rest of the chat.
You are awesome. You are amazing. You are the best. And remember, you have greatness inside of you.
I know the song will be over, but we have to finish that way because that's the beginning. Be well. Be healthy. Find a way, not only dominate your day, but find a way to dominate the first part of 20, what? Someone we said 2025. An amazing, great night, everybody. I can wait to see you tomorrow night, 8:30. We cross again the 60 light. What a great evening with all of you. I can wait to see you again next time. Until then, my friend, the Hockey Nation Show and the Habs Nation want to tell you one more thing. We love you, friends. For the people, guys, come back tonight. Amazing to see Franco Yokono back in the house tonight. Franco, I know you're not here right now, but we don't let you know. We think about you all the time. We want to welcome two people. There was chat in the night, maybe more, but Uli and Billy D was with us tonight. And if you are new tonight, we don't mention your name. We said, welcome in the house of the Hockey Nation Show. If you come back, we all said to you, welcome back. If I did not mention your name, I apologize. I do my best. I know I missed one is Adam Berger at the beginning of the show, but I will be back with him on the text with him to apologize to him. Until then, my friend, have a great night. And of course, I can wait to you until next time. And like we do at the end of the show all the time, when you have the music, I said, oh, it's coming. Booyah, everybody. Good night.